All right, welcome to Coffee with Marcus and Mark, the number one stock market show on Spotify and one of the most popular market updates on YouTube. In this show, we talk about what's happening in the markets and how we are trading them. Today is Tuesday, February 18th, and here's a look at the markets. The S&P 500 trades near record highs. We'll look at what to focus on this week. Will Meta snap a 20-day win streak today? We'll also take a look at Buffett's latest Berkshire Hathaway investment. Southwest announces its first mass layoff in 53 years, and there are a bunch of movers going on today in the markets. Plus, we'll review our open positions and 3 trades that we entered today. As you can see, there's a lot to talk about, so let's go ahead and get started. If this is your first time here, my name is Mark Hodge. I'm head coach at Rockwell Trading. Marcus is going to be speaking at the Money Show, so he is not joining me today. And I know we didn't do a session last week because we were in Cancun with our mastermind members, just having a blast. And we're sorry, but we were having too much fun to do a YouTube video. But we're back, and let's go ahead and see what's happening in the markets. Let me jump over here to the charts, and looking at the S&P 500, we see that the market is just moving sideways, but trading in that upper range, trying to make new record highs. The S&P slightly higher for the session, trading at 61.22, getting up there. Real close. Not a whole lot of movement today. We'll see if there are any catalysts potentially this week to consider. The Dow also quiet today, although the Dow is slightly lower for the session, down less than 0.1%. The NASDAQ just flat, starting the day higher, but pulling back a little bit, trading right at where we closed last week, and kicking off the short holiday week with a little bit of indecision and uncertainty, seeing what comes next. Now, trading right below records for the S&P 500, the NASDAQ having a decent week on some easing trade tensions and also some decent tech earnings. Let's go ahead and move over to PowerX Optimizer. Look at the heat map here, and we see that although there's a decent amount of green, we're kind of all over the place here. NVIDIA is higher for the session, Apple flat, Microsoft flat, Google slightly lower, Meta down 2.3%. We have to look at Meta here. Look at this move over 20 days. Just win. I'm not going to say it 20 times. Today, finally pulling back down 2.3%. It looks like this 20-day win streak is going to be coming to an end unless there's a huge reversal that takes place, but it does look like a little profit taking after a massive rally for Meta. Now, while we're looking at some individual names, let's go ahead and take a look at Intel. Intel, the opposite move, having a great day, up 10%. Now, this could be the best day for Intel since October of 2022. And this rally comes after reports that AVGO and TSM are considering bids for a segment of its chip making business. Looks like with this rally, there were probably some rumors or hints that this might be coming since we've had a few decent days and a big move off of the support level that we saw at 19. In fact, if we look at where it was trading after earnings back in July and look at this move here, come on, let's do it this way then. We are up 27% off of those lows. So up 10% for the day and a pretty decent rally all in all. We'll see if it's just rumors or if there's some follow through to this, but Intel definitely higher for the day with a big gain. Now, Southwest announcing a 15% reduction in its corporate staff. This would be the first mass layoff in 53 years, which would cut some expenses here. And at the open, it looked like investors liked the idea. But right now, trading slightly lower, down 0.3%. So after some initial optimism, stock price wise, trading slightly lower and giving up those early gains. Now, let's talk about Berkshire Hathaway and a new Buffett investment. So Berkshire Hathaway disclosed a 5.6 million share stake in, oh, come on now. There we go. STZ, Constellation Brands. And we see here up almost 4%. This was a $1 billion stake with their 13F filings, and a little bit of a pop, but drifting lower over the last couple of weeks, and then today higher on this news. And it looks like Warren likes Constellation Brands. We'll see if that gives this stock a lift. Definitely a lift for today's trading session. Now, let's take a look at the economic calendar here, see what's in store for us this week. Of course, Monday, markets were closed for President's Day, bank holiday. Today, nothing major on the economic calendar. We do have President Trump speaking, and especially in the evening. Could that stir the markets up a little bit? Well, potentially, if there are trade talks. Now, tomorrow, we do have a red flag report. This is the FOMC meeting minutes. This could create some volatility, although the Fed has been pretty consistent with its wording. And I don't know if we're really going to get the insight that we sometimes get from Fed meeting minutes when everybody's freaking out about what the Fed's saying. This is where sometimes there are a few nuggets there that cause some volatility. At this point, the Fed's been pretty consistent with their message that there's no urgency to cut rates. And in fact, if we look at the Fed Watch tool from the CME group, we see that the next meeting is in 29 days, and there is a 97.5% probability that there will be no cut. Nobody is expecting a cut. If we look at the probabilities overall right now, the markets are essentially saying that there's one, maybe two quarter point cuts, a quarter point cut, or maybe two this year. It looks like right now markets are saying one. And sure, if the Fed's hitting at two in the meeting minutes, then that's going to get traders and investors excited. But that is highly unlikely. Look at this, just very consistent with where the probabilities are, basically split between 1 and 2 cuts. And this goes into 2026. So a big change there from the middle of last year when we're looking at these probabilities. So that's why I don't expect a whole lot coming from Fed minutes on Wednesday. Now, we do see that on Thursday, there's unemployment claims pre-market, crude oil inventories because of the holiday on Monday. Normally that comes out on Wednesday. And then on Friday, we have flash manufacturing PMI, flash services PMI marked as red flag reports. But to be honest, it's really just a slow week for the economic calendar, and also earnings. If we look at earnings and who's reporting for the major indices, we see that there really aren't many major companies reporting. We have Occidental after the bell today, Devon Energy after the bell. Tomorrow, before the bell, we have ADI, Analog Devices. After the bell, nothing too significant. And the biggest company reporting is going to be Walmart on Thursday before the bell. So not a whole lot going on earnings-wise. We can see here just the number of stocks in the indices actually dropping from where they were a couple of weeks ago. And this is going to continue as earnings season starts to wind down here. So what's going on? Well, the focus is really going to be on the trade war potential between U.S. and China, and then the Fed. And those minutes are going to be a wild card. Now, let's go ahead and jump over and talk about positions that we are in. And today, with the WTF strategy, I took PayPal as an entry back here. And today I was able to close it for a small win. So there was an exit according to rules. On the new signal tab, there was BMY, Bristol Myers, as a potential entry, MetLife as a potential entry, and RTX as a potential entry. Marcus and I took all three of these according to our plan. So we are in those three stocks based on a new WTF signal for this morning. And we can now talk about wheel positions. So last week, BP, look at BP here. Now, BP reported earnings on February 11th. However, there was a big jump higher February 10th after news that an activist investor had acquired a stake in BP. And this sent BP right to my cost basis. I was assigned at 34.50. BP was a little tricky for me because we had this real nice support level, and then we broke down. I was able to sell calls a few times, but then we drifted lower. And then fortunately, we started to turn back around, and then we were headed the right direction, broke to the upside out of this range above 32. And then that investor news really sent this higher. And with this gap, I sold 34.50 calls. I got 81 cents, which was just a huge ROI based on the time available, and just 81 cents on a stock trading at 34.50. Not too shabby there. And yesterday, or not yesterday, but the last trading day, which was Friday, we closed above 34.50. I did not roll. I decided to let those BP shares go so I can take that buying power and use it for new trades. So out of BP, did okay with this one, but definitely in a little longer than I expected. But it's nice to have some more buying power here and get that real nice premium on those calls that I sold last week with that jump higher. So happy with this one. No longer own shares of BP. And this was one that I took. Marcus did not take. Now, Canadian Solar looks like we're finding some support around 10. We see that it actually dipped below that, but it really looks like 10 is this level where dips below, buyers step in. On Friday, there was a decent move up 5.6%, and today up 1.4%. So really looking for this to move higher. To be honest, this is one that's going to take some time. I think that there is some appeal at these lower levels now, but this is going to take some time to get to our cost basis. And yeah, this has been a tricky trade. Both Marcus and I are in it, but nothing for us to do right now. Taking a look at Halliburton. Halliburton here, trading around 26, 27. It looks like it's headed in the right way. We were looking at maybe trying to pick up some more shares, bring down our cost basis on this one. Hasn't happened here. Watching Halliburton and looking for this to continue on higher or pull back a little bit more. And I'd be okay adding to my position in Halliburton. I really like this one at these levels and looking for this one to move higher, just like we saw with BP. Position that I am not in, but Marcus is. Coles. Coles has been tricky after just months of trading in great ranges. Started to break down and trade lower. It looks like we might see some support around these levels. This is not one I've traded, and I am not in this, but Marcus is. Merck having a pretty nasty reaction to earnings. And this is one where Marcus is looking to pick up some shares at these levels. So he is open to adding to this position, bring down his cost basis. It looks like maybe we have a decent reversal today. Is this a bottom here with this recent move lower? Potentially. We'll have to see. But not the earnings reaction that anybody owning shares of Merck was hoping for. Although at these levels, it might be attractive to pick up here. I am not in this one, and I will look at the next trade that I am in. UPS, another one that had a pretty rough earnings reaction, although after finding some support around 110, 111. It has turned around nicely. Now today, UPS is down, but this is a little misleading because if we look at the dividend, shareholders on record get paid a $1.64 on March 6th. So picking up a $1.64, I've collected some decent dividends on UPS at these prices. That's a 5.7% yield. That's not too bad. Holding a position, holding a stock, looking for this to make a move higher. Now I picked up some shares here at 113.50 on that earnings reaction. I thought it was a bit overdone. There was a little more downside before it turned around. We're still trading above 113.50, but I did pick up some shares, which just help with this dividend. And yeah, we'll see where this goes from here. Marcus has a real nice cost basis on this one, but I'm really looking for this one to rebound and continue to move higher, get back into this zone here. But so far, not the case. So in a couple of positions that are going to take some time, but I also have some more buying power now after getting out of BP. So right now for me, I have CSIQ, HAL, and UPS, and some buying power for new wheel opportunities, which I'm definitely looking at. Now today, I didn't see anything that really caught my attention, although if you're interested, I think Microsoft is decent at these levels. We see that the 402.50 strike is available. Microsoft trading at 408.60, and Microsoft has this pretty nice range going back to early 2024 between around 400 and 450, maybe up to 470. So I think this is a decent level. Now it does go ex-dividend on the 20th and pays an 83-cent dividend, but with $6 difference between where it's trading right now and that 402.50 strike, this dividend is just a small fraction of the difference between those two prices. So for those of you who don't know, when a stock goes ex-dividend, it gets discounted by that dividend payment, right? If you have $100 in your wallet and you decide you're going to pay someone that's invested in your company $10, now your company's worth $90. That's a horrible example, but it's kind of a good one at the same time. Nonetheless, the stock will discount the price of the dividend being paid when it goes ex-dividend, and that is the date that it is trading without the dividend, meaning that shareholders that purchased the company the previous day are entitled to that dividend, and they get paid on that payment date. So on the 20th, Microsoft expected to drop by 83 cents. And this is where, because of market forces, sometimes the drop is more, sometimes it is minor. The stock could open up $2 higher after on that X date. So there's no guarantee what happens, but theoretically, the stock should drop by 83 cents, which, as I mentioned earlier, since there's $6 difference between where it's trading right now and the 402.50 strike, shouldn't be a big concern there, unless market forces drive this below 402.50. But then if you're trading the wheel strategy, you're getting paid to own shares at 402.50 where the stock is not trading yet. And that's why we love the wheel. So I have some buying power that I'm looking to deploy with this strategy. I've decided to pass on Microsoft, see what pops up this week as some new opportunities. And that's where things stand for today. So a quiet week overall, but politically, you never know what you're going to get. And this is where I do think that any news regarding the tariff situation, specifically between US and China at this point, could definitely move the market. Some positive optimism could help the stock market rally and see new records. Some concerns and a trade war or the potential for escalating trade tensions and higher tariffs could send markets lower, and we just have to wait and see. With that said, I know that many of you come for the market commentary, some new ideas, and just to hear what Marcus and I have to say about the markets. And some of you just come for the dad jokes. And I know that they're always better when Marcus and I are together, and we we have some friendly competition there. So I do apologize for this one in advance. But some of you might know that when I was in college, I played in a band. True story. And I thought, you know what? I want to start playing again. So I started a new band called 999 Megabytes. The only problem, we still haven't gotten a gig. And with that said, we hope you enjoy these videos and this content. And as mentioned earlier this year, we plan to do market updates at the beginning of the week to talk about what's going on during the week and to share what we're looking at, opportunities that we are considering. And we're also looking to incorporate some more content depending on what's going on in the markets. So look out for that. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you have better dad jokes, please share. And if you're trading any of the stocks that we talked about today, maybe you still puts on Microsoft, maybe you picked up some of those WTFs, maybe you saw an opportunity there with Southwest, post in the comments. It's interested to hear what you're doing with trading. And with that said, until next time, happy trading, everybody.